G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some cool sailors and of course spend time with my two idiot mates. First up, let's welcome to the show Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
Buddy, how you going?
Last year fires, this year floods.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Insane weekend of, I guess you'd just say rain.
Wow.
So much so that the MC38 Nationals were cancelled on the prediction of on top of the rain was wind, but the wind seemed to be held away by the rain.
I was just going to say, didn't your little boats want to get wet, mate?
No, I didn't. No, the boats were fine.
Yeah.
It's in the contract. I think Bicey knows that contract. Yeah. Don't do rain.
Don't do rain,
Appendix C, Section 1.
Yeah, I hear you.
No, it was pretty intense weekend here in Sydney, and we'll get through and move to the next stage.
Well, let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Boss.
Oh, I concur, BP. I was up in Sydney for a few days last week. 50 mil of rain on Wednesday, predicting 100 and something on Saturday, and I was like, can it rain anymore? Can it rain anymore?
I tell you what I did on. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, but bloody hell, watching just that rain band come across, and I guess there's only a few places in the world that kind of get the same sort of system sitting off a particular coast, just holding the rain there, and it just remains stagnant. But unbelievable the amount of rain.
East Coast.
How are you up there, up north there, Jay?
We got a bit of rain, but it's we everything's designed to take rain up here, so it doesn't affect us much.
It's not designed down here. I can tell you. I decided to take the family for lunch on Saturday to a little pub in Balmain, which was been there for 100 and something years. Never seen so many buckets catching water. Yeah, inside.
Yeah, like our road training.
I'll have a Guinness, thanks, and hang on, watch out.
Anyway, yeah, so we got a bit, but. I actually was sailing on the weekend, and it did funny things to the wind, so made it interesting. So
I did actually bump into Rob Greenow today.
Oh yeah.
The yacht club and
Test rig,
and he's launching a new J70, and I walked straight up to him and said, "How's this feel, mate? Feel like home?" Love it. Pissing with rain, wind.
It's about 20 degrees warmer.
Yeah, I love it.
But you had a successful weekend, Jay. You're sailing. You're officially a catwhacker now.
Yeah, officially a catwhacker. Yeah.
And your team made it through for the Sailors League final. Is that right?
Oh yeah, they did. Actually, yeah, we're going. So I wasn't on that boat. So. Little team we've got coming out of the Mooloolah Bay Yacht Club's made the Australian Champions League final, so I'll be on the boat for that.
I've read in the news.
Yeah,
it's big news.
And we just won our division of the Queensland multi-hull champs. Jumped on board with a great bloke. I'd never met the guy before. Just jumped on, a guy called Wayne Bloomer, who's now a convert to bar karate, and a super fun regatta. And we went well.
Going back to the Sailing Champions League, didn't every team qualify now for the Nationals? You've done well.
Yeah.
Great.
He could choose which team. He could choose which team he's going to be on.
Those poor blokes had a bit of a blowout. Blowout, wet out, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So if you don't know, it's been raining buckets down on the
most predictable thing about sailing is the unpredictability. It's awesome. Yeah. And just before we hook in, boys, just a quick, we don't do it often, but a quick shout out to one Jamie Beavis. It's his 50th this week, and I promised him something special on the show. So he'll be receiving a merchandise pack. So I'll be sending that through for him. So just keep an eye out, Jamie. That should be any time now.
Let me know the address. I'll send a stubby call.
Yeah. Jamie Beavis, the former Australian kayaker and infamous plumber and now sailor.
And just a top man to boot.
Congratulations, mate. 50. You're too old. Give it up. Righto. We had our guest on episode 14 that's here tonight. I have to say, the number of people that have reached out and just said how much they love this person is amazing. Even the guy I was sailing with on the weekend, he was just didn't know we did He didn't know we did Barker 8. He didn't know anything. He just started blabbering on about Pip Hare and what a great person she is and how much he loves listening to her talk and how much he enjoyed doing the Vendee. So we've had a lot of people.
I've got a feeling he knows about Barker now.
He certainly does. Certainly does. So we wanted to have a bit of a follow-up on the Vendee. We try and leave the skippers alone when events are on. So we'll do a follow-up on the America's Cup with the skippers in a bit. But we wanted to get the full perspective of life through the event. And we get on well with quite a few of the sailors, but some of them are scared to come on because their English is not super strong. So, but Pip's fantastic fun, and this was her first Vendee. She finished 19th, the first British sailor home, second woman home on her boat Medallia, and she had an absolutely fantastic time. And if you watched some of her videos that were coming off the boat, unreal. Same with Boris Herman, the other guy we've interviewed before the Vendee. And so, it's our chance to welcome Pip back to the show. Pip Hare, thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's a real pleasure. Thanks for asking me.
It's great to have you back, safe and sound. We've experienced, we got the build-up with you in episode 14, talking about your build-up to the event and your Vendee. How did it turn out? Was it everything you dreamed of?
Oh, everything and more. I mean, when I spoke to you, that was, September 2019, and I had, the boat was still, I'd hardly done any work on the boat. I was struggling to get funding. I was just trying to finish races so I could qualify. And I sort of crawled along like that for quite a long time. And then all of a sudden, Medallia signed up as title sponsor. Everything went a million miles an hour. And before I knew it, I was at the finish. It's gone so quickly.
Can you tell us?
By the way, Pip, I mean, you're welcome. I think after Medallia heard the Barkarati episode, they thought, we're getting on board. Here she is standing in a tent. It's absolutely pissing down with rain in Southend, and she's doing boat tours with everyone. What a lovely, lovely lass. We're going to throw some coin at her and get her around the world. So,
oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It was all us. I was actually going to be the serious one then. I was going to say, can you?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, can you tell us a little bit how Medallia actually approached you and what that feeling was like when they said, yep, we're on?
So they didn't approach me until the last weekend in May in 2020. And it'd been so hand to mouth up until then. I was doing everything on my own with volunteers, carrying the whole lot on my shoulders. We'd gone into lockdown in the UK and all of my sponsorship chats had stopped with everyone. I only just had enough money to get the boat back out the shed and in the water. And I was kind of just, I still thought I'd made it, would make it to the start, but it was, what can we reuse? How I'd be bolting the boat back together sort of, in any style I could. And then I had a one-line email from their CEO over the bank holiday. And I looked at it for a long time and I looked him up. And I just, those things, people don't contact you. And I thought about it for a long time. And I in the end, I thought, okay, well, I'll tell him if he wants to chat, then ring me. Because, I don't want to be messed around. And he said, fine, let's Zoom tomorrow. So I had a Zoom with him on my own on the Monday, which was a holiday in the US and the UK. And he said to me then, okay, verbally, I'm committing to like a silver sponsorship package, but I want you to meet my team. And 2 days later, I went into another Zoom meeting with his team and they said, okay, we're not messing around, title sponsorship, we're doing it.
Wow.
And that was it. And he'd basically just read about me and knew I didn't have a sponsor and wanted to get involved.
So, Pip, and you can give the most creative answers you want to this one. Up until that point, you're delving into your own personal savings, or you had a budget? Had you gone over budget? Where were you at there?
A bit of a mix of everything. So I started I started out with a personal loan to cover the first few months charter and a crowd fund, which covered another couple of months of charter. And then as I went along, I created like a business club of local businesses who put money in every month. And I still had the crowd fund open. But every time I hit a big problem, I'd get a credit card out.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
That's a la mini style.
Yeah.
So I was in quite deep. I mean, I had enough budget to finish my refit and make the boat safe. But personally, I was in quite deep. Yeah.
You just mentioned mini style. What was your favourite chicken cup of soups? Just stay on the boat. In the old days, it was living on the boat and eating 2-minute noodles and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wasn't.
Similar.
Yes, it was definitely with that mini ethos for sure.
Yeah, fantastic.
For those who don't know Medallia, it's a software as a solution platform that provides, or it's a market leader in experience management. So it gave you the ultimate experience, Pip. They wanted to be part of it.
It really did, and it couldn't have gone better because they were so happy with all of the engagement we got during the race. They've been really excited to be a part of it, and considering we turned around this contract in sort of 3 weeks, really, from phone call to signing. But also, they came in as a title sponsor, but every single person who donated individually, person who came down and sanded my boat and helped me take sails off, all of the business syndicate members, my smaller sponsors, they all made that possible in the first place. So Medallia made it work for all of us.
Sure.
There's got to have been some tears when that contract was signed.
Oh, absolutely.
No.
No,
lots of dancing, but no tears.
I just thought the stress would roll off. That's good. Fantastic. Well, let's get into the race, shall we? Let's talk about what it was like. So a unique experience with the race, like for those who didn't follow it, 33 boats, 8 new foilers were there, bunch of old foilers, 22,000 nautical miles, 3 months, and everyone was in lockdown, so there was no crowd, and the whole place lives like the Vendee is all about the start, isn't it, and the finish?
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was really bittersweet for me, the start and the finish. I felt, I'd worked so hard to get there. It's been my dream since I was 17, and I, never once in my imagination did I picture A, no crowds, and B, that my friends and family, in particular my parents, wouldn't be there. And so, the race village was open for the first 2 weeks, and that was great. But we went into lockdown. I think we went into lockdown 10 days before the start. And then we had reduced access to the boats. And that was also really hard too, because, the bigger teams who were just all sorted, they just walked off and their boats were completely empty. And then, we still needed to work on my boat because it wasn't finished. And it wasn't just me. It was sort of about a third of the fleet were in that position. And so we were having to get special permission to come down to the boat, to work on the boat. And it was really, it was a bit sad and a bit stressful. And I didn't really enjoy that period leading up to the start at all.
So basically, after that, and for many ocean races as well, it's always a bit like that, a bit stressful before the start. And the minute you go over the start line, it's like, okay, now we're into it. Was that then a bit of a weight off your shoulders? Okay, we're getting into it. This has been my dream since I was 17. Time to go.
Yeah. And we went out, and actually we went down the canal, and the French people did their best. They were all out on the balconies, and that was nice. And then, when we got out, it was thick fog. So we had a 2-hour postponement. And so, I still had the team on the boat, and we were just going up and down, and I kind of didn't really feel anything. And then the fog lifted, and they said, right, we're going. They literally went, right, 10 minutes, we're going. And that was it. I kind of just unrolled the Jenica. The team jumped off the boat, and all of a sudden I'm looking around me going, oh, my word, I'm doing the Vendee Globe. I'm allowed to enjoy it now. I'm allowed to enjoy it. This is it. And I was just so happy. Just unbelievable. everything I ever dreamed of.
Well, we could certainly tell that any of your selfies with your big selfie stick, all you could see was your smile.
See my smile from space, yeah.
I love it.
And so talk us through that day then. So the fog lifts and you're off, you're happy as, and the weight has been lifted and it all becomes real or a bit surreal?
It still feels, I mean, it still felt surreal. You know, I think it takes it didn't land until about 2 weeks in that I was actually doing the Vendee Globe. And I didn't know what to expect because, you know, I'd had such limited interaction with the fleet the year before and my boat was not exactly in racing condition. And then to 2020, I had no interaction with the fleet. So I didn't know where I would sit in the fleet. I didn't know who I should be lining up against. You know, there was a part of my brain that said, just get round, just be happy with getting round. And there's another part that going, but how fast can you go? And and actually, you know, that what was really great for me was I wasn't like I was far from last across the start, and I was sort of looking behind me going, oh, look who's behind me, oh, he's behind me and he's behind me. Wow, that's amazing. Stop the race now, it's great.
You got to be honest though, Pip. You've been on the same path as someone like Alan Rauer and Didac Costa for so many years. You'd expect almost to be stuck with them around the world. You've been doing all the races with them, against them in the years, and it's kind of interesting that you're all in the same race.
Yeah, I mean, there are 80 mini sailors in that race.
I know, it was incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool, and so nice to have people that I have raced against before as well. Because Manu Kuzan in Group Setan, I raced against him in class 40s too. So there's all these familiar faces, which was really good.
Yeah, for sure.
And then 1 week in, the storm arrives.
Yes. And that was sort of a bit of a moment for me because, you know, we were looking at it, everyone's going, storm theta. But, you know, where we were in the fleet, it really wasn't a threat to us. It was just a weather feature that we could either choose to use or avoid. And, you know, I just instinctively went, well, surely we're going to go closer to it. Surely we're going to get something from that. And so, you know, I jibed in towards it. And then was really surprised when sort of all of my peer group, if you like, my little bundle, other than Didac, all went away from it. And that was when me and Didac got our really big boost and split from the rest of those guys, and then ended up with Callie in a foiling boat and Manu Kuzan. And initially, I was, you know, it was really great, and I'd done on purpose. There'd been a lot of breeze in the English Channel before the start, and I really wanted to get confidence in big breeze sailing for the Southern Ocean. So I went out with Lasso loads. We just beasted the boat up and down. He did the upwind stuff while I had a little sleep, and then I did the downwind stuff, which was just great.
Beautiful.
What a guy.
You didn't sneak him on for the race, did you?
I wouldn't have been able to handle that. Too much chat.
You just imagine in one of those crosses from the boat and Nick accidentally runs across in the back. Oh, busted.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was, I kind of thought it was great just actually getting the boat going. And then I looked at the fact that no one else was coming towards Storm Theta, and there was a little part of me that went, oh, is this not what we're supposed to do? And then I saw Didac there, and actually we crossed. I think I only saw another boat 3 times, and we crossed like within a mile of each other.
Oh, wow.
At Storm Theta.
For the whole race, or you're talking about that section of the race? For the whole race?
No, whole race. I saw 3 boats on the horizon, and then 2 people on AIS, and that was it. Yeah, wow. But we were also close, but just not close enough.
Wow. Yeah, sure.
Now, Pip, when you're talking, and just to clarify, you're talking we.
Yes.
So you're in your boat. You and your team.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's always. I've never really been a person that's very good at sort of talking about myself, so maybe it's easier to say we. And I kind of like, it was a team effort. It was a team effort though. But to be really clear, obviously nobody helped me with weather or routing at all, because that's strictly.
We know
strictly,
that.
Of course,
we know that.
But
I just thought you'd join the royal family.
well, that as well.
Within Bark Radio and all our guests that have come on, we've tried to promote as much banter as possible against their competitors. Were you guilty of creating any banter against some of your competitors, whether it was over short sat-c or via radio when you did actually see them or anything like that?
So one of the things about the Amokka fleet is we're just all really nice. And there wasn't an awful, but also, do you know what? Banter doesn't actually translate that well across languages. And I was chatting, like Alan Aurora, he's got, he and I chatted a lot, because actually when I came up behind him in the Southern Ocean, I had to like send him a WhatsApp and just say, I suppose you really don't want to see me here, do you? Because obviously I'm in his old boat. And he was like, not really, no. And we chatted all the way, because we were sort of in the same piece of ocean all the way to the finish then. So we were chatting all the way to the finish. And I was trying to explain to him that I've got like a family WhatsApp on my boat phone, and basically it's just my sisters and my brother taking the piss out of me. And Alan didn't understand. He was like, why are they doing that? That's not very nice.
I can just imagine Alan too doing that, because he's such a sweet and innocent young man, isn't he? And he'd be exactly like that. He'd be going, but why?
Yeah, exactly. And then he was like, you English are strange. Okay. Yes.
You roast beef.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
So when you you go through that storm, you come to the doldrums, you cross the equator. Do any sacrifice, any sort of gesture to Neptune? No.
King Neptune didn't arrive, you're saying?
I do not believe in any of that. And the reason is because I always used to. Yeah. I always used to do like never leave on a Friday, always put, drink to Neptune before you leave and all that sort of thing. And I did all of that and I still got rolled in the Biscay once. So, I mean, what's the point?
And who's ever been rolled?
Did you have your red undies on? That might have been the issue.
All right, well, then speaking of people making sacrifices and trying to ward off bad luck, how was the carnage as we came down towards down the coast of Africa there? Like it just turned into carnage. Were you worried?
Carnage Alley, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, so one of the first things is, I wasn't massively connected with what was going on in the rest of the fleet. I had limited comms budget, so I was not surfing the internet or looking at any of the Vendee news. The only news I was getting in was from my team or my friends telling me what was going on.
Wow.
Or we had a skipper's WhatsApp group. So obviously we knew when boats were pulling out, we knew what was happening, but when people had damage, we didn't necessarily know what was going on.
Wow.
And we heard about Kevin, and that was just, that was a really nervous night for everyone. But, it was a night of just literally just waiting and waiting and waiting for news, and there just wasn't any news. Nobody was getting any news. So it kind of just makes you, obviously every part of me was just kind of concerned for him and willing the best for him. But at the same time, I had a huge confidence that he would be found because we were, they were so close together. He had Jean Le Cam on his, there. And if anyone was going to find him, it was going to be him. And I think you wouldn't go out if you didn't believe that those sorts of rescues were going to happen. It never crossed my mind that he wouldn't be found.
Wow. Just be wise.
Sorry, John. No, just to put it into perspective, Pip, what is a comms budget worth like around the world between, say, a small budget and a large budget? Are we talking 20 grand versus 200 grand, or?
So
I remember in the Volvo, I think the numbers were almost close to $500,000 worth of airtime.
Per boat?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, the smallest budgets would have been around 25 grand, and the bigger ones sort of upwards over 100, I would have said, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we had a really good deal with Iridium Certus, but it's still expensive.
Yeah.
So when you were getting close to the end of your data usage, did you get a note on your phone saying you're getting close to the end of your data usage and you need to upgrade your bill?
Your data is...
Actually, yeah.
If you'd like to set up a direct debit.
You can pay on BPay.
I didn't get it. My store manager did. He would send me texts going, "Okay, you're running out.
So I've covered your bill for the next month.
What are we going to do?" Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go. So it's not easy. So listeners out there, this is how it's done at this level, and it's just credit to you. Credit to you, absolutely. I was going to say earlier, when Medallia came on board, did that sort of, I guess, entice you to be so active with putting out information? Because I think of all the people in the race, you were probably the most active and the most enjoyable, to be honest, to watch, and the information you were giving out. Well, you know that. But did that make it more important for you, or was it always going to be that way?
It was always going to be that way. I sort of said when I set out, these are my missions. This, I know I've got a 21-year-old boat, and I know, it's really difficult to sail, but I want to do the best I possibly could with this boat. I want to be the best sailor that I can in this race. But also, it's been really, really hard for me to get here. I mean, really hard. And I think part of that is because sometimes sailing is just it's not open enough. People don't understand it enough. Bigger companies don't feel it's accessible. And so what I really wanted to do was just open it up, get more people to enjoy it and engage with it. So that was always my mission.
Well, I think it's succeeded, so congratulations.
Certainly, no doubt, the enthusiasm and the keenness, no doubt, radiated through all the posts that you're doing. And again, that smile. So thank you from everyone who's watching, because everyone was pumped. Anyone who I spoke to or we spoke to was just loving the journey and being part of the journey. And everyone felt as though they were sitting at the end of your selfie stick the whole time around the world.
Excellent. Do you know what I've discovered as well? I am everybody's mum's favourite sailor. Everyone's mum loves me.
I love it. I love it.
You've made it. Was that part of the dream at 17 as well?
I want to be everyone's mum's favourite.
But even so, Armel Trepon's mum is a big fan. She was sending me emails as I was going round.
Wow.
Jordan strives for that as well. He wants to be everyone's mum's favourite as well. That's the kind of age group we're looking at.
You might as well go with your strength, Spicy. Oh, dear. So, with the race, when Alex pulled out, did you go, "Oh, you beauty, I'm the first Pommy in the race now," or?
I know, because Sam was still ahead of me then.
Oh, of course, Sam. Yeah, I forgot about it. Sam. Yeah, Sam.
All right, so when Sam pulled out, did you go, "Oh, you little beauty, I'm the first Pom in the race"?
Well, it didn't really feel like that, to be honest. I was still sort of mid-fleet. It's not, I mean, I was the first Brit in the race, but
no, we actually
by
feel
default.
you're probably pretty hurt for your countrymen, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it is just I've now understand what it's like to get to the start line, and that's what we're all doing it for. It's all of that effort and that work. It's for those those days at sea. It's for that opportunity, and when you lose that, not even a third of the way into the race, I think I would really struggle to recover from that. So yeah.
It's a lot of emotion, isn't there? So did you have any sort of climactic emotional points in the race where whether it was pure joy or pure just, I can't do this anymore? Like, did you go through that mental trauma?
So I never once felt that I couldn't do it. What I doubted sometimes was my ability to push as hard as I wanted to, especially as I started climbing the ranks and my performance, was more than I'd imagined it would be, then sometimes, I doubted my ability to carry on at that level. But that was normally when I was just exhausted. But I mean, after, it wasn't actually, so replacing my rudder obviously was the big thing, but that in itself,
we need to talk about that in a second, because that's a massive story.
Well, that in itself was kind of just, it happened almost robotically because it had to. But what I struggled with afterwards, I just didn't understand how much I'd have to pay back physically in my energy levels and mentally after that. And I found the week coming up to Cape Horn so hard. I had so many problems with the boat, and these foiling boats that I shouldn't have been with were sailing away from me, and it was breaking my heart, and I was so angry with myself.
Why are they doing 5 knots faster than me
on your 21-year-old boat?
and actually then when I reached Cape Horn, I didn't think, everyone was waiting up in the UK. I had loads of texts from people going, come on, get there. It's 2:00 in the morning. We've got a bottle of champagne. We've got to work tomorrow. Just get there. And I felt like I was doing it for everyone else. But actually when I got there and I thought, wow, I've just sailed through the Southern Ocean, on an IMOCA in the Vendee Globe. It was actually a really, really emotional, it was the most emotional moment of the race for sure.
Yeah, the Southern Ocean is a special place for those lucky enough to go down there. What was your biggest and most, biggest memory of the Southern Ocean? Obviously, big swells, sunny skies, and albatross.
No, just beautiful yachting, champagne sailing, as they call it.
That's it.
Yeah, just like that. It's just going fast.
Yeah.
Oh my word, I like going fast. It is just. What I'm always going to remember about Southern Ocean is, I was learning all the time. I was learning these little systems would come through. And the first one, I fell off the back of it way too soon and was annoyed for ages. And then I got on the next one, pushed a little bit further, wasn't quite right. And then I did that jibe south. It's like, okay, so a little bit more breeze. And when I got it right, and, you're just riding this little sort of weather bomb and the boat is going for it, and you've got a short amount of time to make the most miles you possibly can. I loved that, and that is what I'm going to remember about that.
Well, this is actually a memorable point you actually said. You said at times you just knew the boat so well that you knew you were going well, but you also knew when you weren't going well. So you knew when the boat wasn't going well. You're so at one with the boat. That was a comment you made in one of your crosses, and it was really interesting to hear that, because for those who probably haven't been at sea for that length of time, you do get in sync with the systems. And when you get that perfect day, perfect wind and perfect swell, it's just nothing like it.
Yeah, it really is. And it just feels good. And for me, when something wasn't right, it would just feel so bad. It gets inside you and you can't rest and you can't sleep. And you there's not a part of me that can just switch off and go, oh, it's only half a knot, it's fine. It just eats away at the inside of my head until I've sorted it out. But then, the flip side is when it feels good, it feels unbelievable.
So throughout the Vendee and throughout our observations, Pip, I was quite vocal in thinking the ice gates were too far north. These boys knew I was going to say that.
Exactly.
What's your feeling? What's your feelings there?
I don't have anything to compare it with. This is my only experience, but I would definitely agree. They put them there for a reason, and actually, the Australian one is not to do with the ice; it's to do with the rescue range.
Because it's only so far the Barkarati barge can get.
Yeah.
Well, I did buy an extra jerry can.
Did you upgrade your engine from a 4.5 to a 9, or?
Maybe you can upgrade for the next race as well, then, so we can go a little bit further south. But
a bit further.
Yeah, if you looked at the weather systems beyond the ice limit, you could easily see that we could have been going further and faster. But and it did make the race so many times we were bumping up and down against that, but that actually helped me, because my boat it was able to do really hard VMG downwind, and so I could just kind of skirt along it, whereas the foilers were having to do massive big zigzags.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's a
nice.
It is a big issue because the race was quite a bit longer than it had been in previous years. So, and Bicey was definitely adamant, and absolutely, as soon as he opened his mouth, I knew where he was going with that question. So, did you, with your boat setup, given the way you've got a 21-year-old boat, things have moved on, did you sort of hang it on something like try and do something a little different, to maximise what you had that the other boats didn't have? Or did you set it up with what you had, with the money you had?
Well, we did have an opportunity to make a certain amount of upgrades, but you still need to remember it's still a 21-year-old boat, so you got to think. With the budget that I had to think quite carefully about the energy and the money that I was putting into the sort of changing the performance of the boat. But basically, we kind of upgraded the autopilot. That was the big thing. And my autopilot only missed a beat only once in the whole race, which was amazing.
I wish mine could have done that for you years ago on my little boat.
And then it was about sales. I thought really long and hard about the sale plan, and we put outriggers on which made a significant difference. And so really then it was just I kind of thought about me as a sailor and what I'm good at and what the boat is good at. And I think we nailed it because I'm good at pushing hard when it's windy. We set up the boat to make it a bit easier. And believe me, that boat is not easy. I still had to reef at the mast, which we tried to change, but we just couldn't. Wow. But we set up the boat to be, to make it easier for me to push harder when it was breezy. And that worked out because, those back foilers were all backing off when it was breezy. And that was when I had my foot to the floor.
Must have been hard. I reckon it'd be pretty tough, like when you're on an old boat, not just because the boat's old, but, the cockpits and the comfort levels changed on the modern boats. Like when you see these video crosses and they're sitting there in their T-shirt with just the salopettes on and, you're outside and going to the mast to do reefs and stuff. That must have been tough.
It is. I mean, but so again, I've never sailed another Imoca. This is the only one I've ever sailed.
So you got no reference.
And no, but when I started getting people working on the team who do have a lot of experience across Imocas, they basically said to me, never, ever, ever sail another Imoca because you'll never want to come back to this one. And Didac and I were messaging quite a lot saying we felt there should be two classes in the Vendee. There should be the roof class and the non-roof class because it's much harder without a roof. And Sebastian Destremo would have started in the roof class and finished in the non-roof class. He had. So
I love it.
Well, are you allowed to cross divisions like that, or?
Well, who knows? He didn't finish, so we couldn't test the rule. Yeah,
make the rule as you go along. Yeah.
Just before we'll talk about your plans a little bit from future editions later on. But let's just say now that we're talking specifically about your boat, let's just say you've got an unlimited budget, and which boat do you want out of the fleet? Which boat would you love to be on most, apart from yours?
So I had a good think about this, my fantasy boat, and it would definitely be one of the 2016 generation foiling boats. I think that it's more of a reflection on me as a sailor. I'm not massively technical. I'm not a big number cruncher. I don't love data. I actually like to feel a bit of wind and spray on my face occasionally. So I wouldn't enjoy the whole stuck inside, in your gym jams all the way around the world kind of thing. And I think, the 2016 generation boats, you can maybe push them a bit harder. You can maybe sell them a bit more with feel. So I reckon one of those, yeah.
11th hour is about to come on the market, I reckon.
Well, it's not a bad boat, is it?
She's not a bad boat. She's a cracker.
Can we
talk
just
about the rudder?
back? Can we just revert back to we touched on it earlier. Can we talk about the rudder, because it captivated the heart of so many people around the world. I think there would be a lot of people in this world would think you can't change a rudder at sea, let alone change a rudder near Cape Horn.
So Brett should admit that he suggested that one of the volunteers put it on backwards before you started, and you just realised that Cape Horn.
No, I think our audience want to sort of hear, I guess, everything from we saw the emotion of it all, but the job itself. We know you practiced it, and probably one of the only or one of the few that practiced it. When it actually happened, what did you think yourself and go, here we go,
Yeah, I mean, there were two things that when we set out, there were two things that I'd practiced and I was ready for, but I kind of mentally I'd gone, oh, but they're not going to happen to me. So I'm I'll just pretend that's not going to happen. The first thing was climbing the mast, and the second thing was changing the rudder, and I had to do both.
Of which you did both, yes.
Yeah, I guess we knew, because Alan had to change a rudder in 2016, we knew it could potentially be an issue. So we were ready for it. And I only managed to practice the week before the start in the harbour in Les Sables d'Olonne. I actually got an ear infection because of it, because the water was a bit dirty. I spotted it first, and do you know what? I was so lucky. I was so lucky, because I'd been sailing really hard on that rudder, and then we were in a gap between systems, and I jibed, and then I was doing a deck walk, and I noticed that the rudder had dropped, and I sort of thought that's a bit strange. So I sent a photo to Joff, and I said, "Shall I just stick a rope through this and pull it up?" And he went, "Just go down and check the bearing." So I had a look at the bearing, and it didn't look right to me. It looked loose. So I took a video, and I sent the video to Joff and said, "This bearing looks loose. How do we pull it back into the boat?" And he went really silent for about 20 minutes. And then he sent me one back with a frame and an arrow with a bit circled on it. And he said, "Is that a crack?" And then I just my heart just was, just dropped.
Oh, yeah.
And I went and had a look, and it was like, yeah, that's a crack. Oh. But we've now looked at this, and actually what had happened was the stock was actually loose inside the blade. So not only was it
was twisting.
Yeah, it was going to be catastrophic if that had gone while I was sailing on it. So we were really, really lucky to find it.
Wow.
And then from the moment I found it, obviously there was a lot of emotion, and the emotion wasn't about changing the rudder. The emotion was about the fact that I was 15th and I had 5 falling boats behind me, and I was going to lose it all. And that's what I was crying about. So, and then from then, we had a lot of chat. We sort of created a WhatsApp group with me and Joff and Lasso, and we were just talking a lot about how we would do it. And we sort of chewed through the idea of doing it in different ways, because, the sea state was terrible, but actually reverted back to the one I practiced, because why would you reinvent the wheel in the middle of the Southern Ocean? And then it was just, I kind of mentally, right, this is what I've got to do, and I've got to make it work, because there isn't actually another choice. I've got to do it. And the big decision was where to do it. And it was punchy to do it where I did, because I literally had a 12-hour window where the breeze was dropping below 12 knots. But the problem was the sea state.
Yeah.
And the sea state was pretty fierce. And Joff said to me afterwards, if I'd have sent him a video, he saw the video of me changing it. He said, if I'd have sent him a video of the sea state before I started, he would have said, don't do it. But actually, part of the rules is that I can't have any help with when and where to make the repairs. I have to make that decision myself, because that's weather related. So that was all on me. And I just thought, okay, I'm going to give this a go. I stuck a drone out the back. I slowed the boat down as much as possible. I got everything ready. I kind of sat for about 3 hours and watched and watched and watched and watched and watched. And then I just went, I'm not waiting for 5 days for high pressure. I'm just not doing it. I can't. I'm going to make this happen. And it happened. So.
Well, there you go. It just happened, Bicey.
That's how things happen.
That's how new runners get in boats. It just happened.
We honestly felt as though we were there. We were literally on deck with you as you went through that, and we were watching with. And I don't remember the exact episode, but we commented.
I think we did
on it
quite a lot actually. Yeah.
Throughout the that particular episode when it was going down, like just to how heroic that particular move was. So, congratulations.
I guess it comes back to, again, what we said a second ago, where you're in sync with the ocean and the boat and everything. And I guess you just felt like that the timing was right. You said you're not going to wait, obviously, but you felt like the conditions were probably at the most manageable, not comfortable, but, it felt like, because obviously, what happens is you're in bad conditions, good conditions, and you've got that bit in between. So there was a time where you just felt like it was time to happen. And as you said, it just happened.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of made a bit of a deal with myself, and it's kind of how I manage these situations. There was this window of high pressure which was opening up to the north, but literally it would take 5 days out of my race to sail up there and do it there. And I could see a potential window opening. And so I just decided to stay where I was, and I basically let these systems move over me, and I kind of made a deal that I didn't have to do it. By staying there, I wasn't committing to doing it. And if the breeze picked up again and there wasn't a window, then fine, I would go to the north. But I was going to give myself every opportunity of doing it there. And it was, it's the kind of thing that I think if you said to me now, right, go out, there's a 3 metre swell, here's your Imoca, here's your rudder. Yeah. In it goes. And the thing I was most worried about was the breeze that was following up, because if I'd ended up not being able to get it into the boat, or I damaged something and I had a hole in the boat or something like that, then, there's this big breeze coming. But we had, everything was so well thought through and so well prepared. So I had all of my anchor chain in the container already. The new rudder was in its garter, with all the attachment points there ready. So the actual procedure itself took like 45 minutes maybe. All the preparation takes longer. And I was so shocked when it actually came, because I'd taken the old one out and that was quite hard. I had to, lean over the side of the boat, drill a hole in it, all of that sort of stuff. Taking the old one out, and the most nerve-wracking bit was actually throwing the new one in the water. I checked so many times that I actually tied it on.
Is that a bowline?
Throw it off. Oops, man overboard.
and then I pulled it down on the chain so it was underneath the boat in the right orientation. The boat was going up and down a lot, and I kind of just I canted the keel, so it was definitely going to be vertically in through the bottom of the hull. But then that started filling up the back of the boat with water. And so, I had to go quite quickly. But literally from the moment I got the rope lined up, this thing, as soon as I let the weight of the chain off it shot up through the boat. I was so shocked that it had actually ended up in the boat. It was just such a surprise. It also had 100 litres of water come with it, but I didn't care by then. It was great.
No,
as it came flying up, did you just say to yourself, like a glove?
Or nailed it. Righto.
Yeah,
next test.
Yeah. What am I going to do next? Did you see that cartoon? That was so cool.
I did.
That was, yeah. I did feel like that. I could
like
do
a superwoman.
anything.
Yeah, like a superwoman standing on the boat, holding the shrouds. Yeah, take me on. Yeah, awesome. Oh well.
So, one thing, Pip, and this is just for everyone, from a sleep point of view, did you give yourself a schedule, or you were kind of just winging it a little bit?
It just depends on conditions. You always sleep better during the night anyway, so I would try to bank most of my sleep overnight, and then I did a massive big biometrics data study all the way through, and we recorded all of my sleep and my heart rate and my oxygen saturation, all that sort of stuff. So I was kind of aware of when I was sleeping and how much I was sleeping. And I had a lower limit, which was 4 hours in a 24-hour period, that, I kind of said, okay, you've got to get this. And I think it was only maybe 4 or 5 days that I didn't. And then on top of that, it was just about opportunity, sure. but always the boat came first, always.
Yep.
Were you just sleeping in a beanbag, or did you have...
A beanbag, yeah. So the thing about my boat is because the living accommodation is really, really small, and you come straight down into it. And so when the boat was really, really going for it in the south, and I was dry suited up all the time, I just had to sleep on the floor, because if to get in and out of the dry suit, I was just making everything wet. And if you get your beanbag wet, then that's it.
That's it. That's all over.
It's wet forever. And so in the south, I just slept on the floor a lot.
Fair enough. It's a bit like icy every Saturday night.
That's a pretty standard weekend at my joint.
Once the beanbag's wet, it's all over.
Just slide into the dry suit, have a snooze on the floor. No, so obviously you got to be pretty disciplined to ensure that you're not just taking the opportunity just for that particular piece of time, but knowing you've still got a whole lot more time out at sea. Did it get lonely, or you always knew you could have been there for 200 days?
No, I wasn't lonely at all. I mean, you're really, really well connected, because we had just WhatsApp. We were just WhatsApping via satellite, and
you had a shore manager who was paying your phone bill, so it was all right.
Exactly. Yeah, it was fine. No, I just love it. I love it. I don't get lonely. If I want to talk to someone, then I would, but I actually never wanted to talk to someone. I just really happy out there. Really happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that certainly came across.
What about the result? Like with how it finished with the top. Let's just talk about the front runners. Did you have any sort of person that you were hoping would win, or were you happy with the result? I mean, you're all friends. Let's get that out there. We know that. Or were you just too removed from it? You're more focused on yourself.
No, we were watching it was weird watching like all of that finish happening. I mean, it was so exciting.
Yeah.
I think, naturally I was definitely gunning for Yannick and Louis. I think it was really rough on Charlie though, because he did sail a great race, and people have to be compensated for going and rescuing someone else. They have to be.
Yeah. Yep.
But I just think that was really rough for Charlie, and it would have been nice maybe if he'd have. I guess he was noticed for having, he was recognised for having line honours.
Yeah.
And he's been so gracious about it.
And so was Yannick as well. He said there were 2 winners.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it was a 2-hour margin for those who don't remember. It was a 2-hour margin. Of course, Charlie had spent 18 hours repairing a foil. So that foil he must be looking back at that, just going, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess, it's just that the story goes, all of those stories go, all the way through, the fleet. There's all of those things. But I mean, from a competition point of view, it was just an incredible race for everyone, I think.
Amazing close finish. Did you feel like big hand for Damien Seguin as he came in for the finish?
Mate, leave the man jokes to me, all right? The dad jokes, all right?
He did. We were so happy for him. We were cheering hard because he got 7th, did an amazing job. For those who don't know, it was a really bad joke on my part. He he was born without one hand, so he sails with just one hand, and he's a talented sailor, and he's done so well, and it's never held him back. So yeah, no, I just
Andy on their high five as well.
And what about your arrival, Pip? Let's just get into that. Talk about your arrival, the anticipation, the not big crowds.
It was stressful and a little bit gutting as well, because I still, right up until my until I lost my fractional halyard, which was like 36 to 48 hours before the finish, I actually really thought there was a chance of getting ahead of Alan and Stefan. I really thought I would.
Wow.
And then sort of even coming into the finish without my downwind zero, it was still looking good. And then, I just missed my window. The breeze went ahead. My keel line snapped, so I had a keel flapping around in the bottom of the boat. There were fishing boats everywhere. It was 30 knots of breeze. I couldn't put enough sail up because I couldn't count my keel. It was headwind, and I got this massive ball of stress in my stomach, so strong it hurt to actually stand up. And for the last 6 hours, I was stressed out of my head because I'd spent 3 months avoiding land, avoiding sailing upwind in 30 knots, and avoiding other boats. And I had all three.
All at once.
And so it was...
And a finish line to go to.
Well, and a finish line. And it was really, I came into the finish and it was the same almost as Cape Horn. I was like, I don't think I can enjoy this. I am so stressed. And of course, none of my friends and family could get there. We snuck. I had 6 people manage to get out with a lot of help. But, and I came into the finish and there was just my team came out in a rib, and they were kind of hanging off because they knew I had to tack, and they knew I was super stressed. And then all of a sudden, all of these ribs just came out. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. All these ribs just came out of Les Abdelon, all with like flashing blue lights, like 20 of them, and they didn't get the memo to stay away. They were just all around me,
wow.
And it was awesome because it just suddenly
hits home,
became real. I'm about to finish the Vendee Globe.
Wow.
And it was, even though there weren't people there, I was just so happy and so proud.
Pip, there were people there. It was all on TV. Yeah. It's okay.
And you were in a group of 5 that finished within 18 hours as well. So there was a lot of pressure. Everyone talks about the first 9 boats or whatever, but in your little group you had 5 finish within 18 hours, which is an amazing thing. Then, of course, as you said in that little thing, did the French... obviously you would have been worried after the French sent a fishing boat to slow Boris Herman down.
Where was yours? You were waiting?
Were you waiting to be...
Like, you were just doing the math. French and Germany, they weren't the best of pals. France and the UK, we're kind of good now.
They've had moments.
I should be okay.
My fishing boats called me up to congratulate me, which was amazing.
Nice. They get behind it, the old Frenchies, don't they? They love it.
Yeah, and so when I came in down the canal, there's a curfew in France, so there was nobody there. There were a couple of people who were sleeping in camper vans and
Hi, Pip. Hello.
But I had the bin men. They were collecting the bins all down the canal, and they were beeping their horns and waving for me. Didac got the firemen. I got the bin men.
Hey, being a binologist is quite a good job.
Yeah, I love it.
Good pay. You're up early in the morning, home early in the afternoon. Nothing wrong with being a binologist.
Hey, we have to mention before we talk about what's next for you, we have to talk about Jean Le Cam. The dude just like he had a magic run, right? He did this amazing race. I think he ended up 4th overall. He did get a time adjustment because of the rescue of Kevin. But regardless, sailed an amazing race in an old boat as well in second-hand gear. And then when he did his arrival, I'm sure he was doing a Kate Bush impersonation. Did you see that little dance he did? I was just going, that's Kate Bush. He's doing Kate Bush. Is he the world's nicest bloke, or is he just something different?
He's just, I think he's just he's an incredible guy. He's got so much soul and passion for the sport, and he does things his way, but he does them his way and he smashes them his way.
Yeah.
And for him, to be there at my finish and to talk about my race, it's like I didn't even know he knew who I was.
He was very proud of you. Very proud of you.
After the third hug, I kind of wanted to be put down a bit.
Okay, I'm done now.
That's cool.
Did you understand a word he said, even though you speak French?
Yes, I did. Yeah. He said he just kept telling me how proud he was, and we later went on to dance on a table together, which was quite fun.
So you were doing a bit of Kate Bush dancing as well.
Well, if you want to aspire to be like someone, why not like him?
Yeah, good point.
All right, well, let's take that sort of step. Sorry, BP, you were going to throw something there?
No, you're good.
What happens now?
So 2024, definitely.
Wow, there we go. You heard it first, or not first. Maybe about 31st or 41st or whatever, but you heard it on Barkarati.
It's interesting. Everyone said to me with great authority, you're going to get off the boat and go, I'm never, ever doing that again. And then you'll forget about a year later and you'll sign up. I walked off that boat and went, bring on 2024. I want to do this again. I really want to do this again. And so, yeah, definitely 2024. And there will be some sort of partnership with Medallia as one of our sponsors.
I was just about to ask you. Is it going to continue? That is a wonderful bit of news, and congratulations to yourself and Medallia for that. So, good one.
Thank you.
Have you, and do you aspire to have that 2016 generation boat?
Yeah.
That is where my heart would naturally go. I mean, we just haven't talked about what things look like or how we're going to do it yet. So I don't know yet.
Stand by, watch this space.
A long way from 2012 on the mighty RG650, Pip. Very, very proud of you.
Well, it's all part of the journey.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be a part of it.
So how will you stay in shape then leading into 24? Like, will you plan to do all the Amoca races? You'll start doing the series. That's what you're going to do. So Pip Hare is there. She's on the circuit. That's
what I'd really like. If I look back at my last 2 years and this Vendee, I think we did an incredible job from a standing start with no money in January 2019 to do what we did. We did a really great job, but the massive sacrifice was me. I had no time. I virtually did no training. I had no coaching. Obviously Lasso was really involved towards the end, and I did a load of time with him, but I just didn't invest in myself. I didn't spend as much time on the water as I wanted. And so my aspirations for 2024 are that actually I can create a team where it allows me to be a sailor instead of the chief cook and bottle washer.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do everything anymore. But yeah, that would mean as many races as I possibly can, getting out there, but also carrying on telling the story, getting more people involved, trying to raise the profile of the sport a bit more in the UK and all of the above, and lots of smiling.
There you go.
Very good.
And we love it.
Yeah, we do. Hey, one question. When you saw Lasso for the first time, how was that?
Oh, he was actually, unsurprisingly, so he came out to the finish, him and Helena, and he was unsurprisingly the first person who scrambled onto the boat and grabbed me and gave me a hug. So it was awesome. Yeah.
He's a very true person, and I'm sure that felt wonderful. So good one.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we might call it there. I reckon we've had a wonderful experience chatting to you about your experience on the Vendee. I will say Barkarati can be called on to do a bit of coaching and also create some headlines for you. Not necessarily good, but we're backing you the whole way, so you can always come and get some airtime with us.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And you're going to work on upgrading your rescue barge next time as well.
Yeah, I'll buy a third jerry can.
I think there's going to be a whole bunch of cheap actuals we could sort of tie together. Oh, BP, he's gone off now.
No, Pip, thanks so much for joining us. And let's just keep a little constant update going here, because there's so many people out there who loved your story, including us, and are going to enjoy the story for the future.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you. That would be brilliant.
Okay.
Good on you.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
well
Pip.
done.
Thank you.
Sheer determination sums Pip up in one word, or two words, I should say. I met her in 2012, as we sort of touched base on, and I think she was planning all along this, and she still is planning. She's got big plans for the future. It's just so cool to see someone carry out their dreams and their goals, and to do it in the way she did as well, you know, humble but focused, and to have the luck or good fortune or whatever you want to call it, to find someone to support her along the way to make it that little bit easier is really cool.
Mate, sheer inspiration.
That's the word.
What I want to say.
Another word.
As far as her inspiration to not only young UK sailors, but young sailors alike and female sailors for that matter. But, well, you don't have to be female or male to drag some inspiration from her story. So, yeah, awesome. Good chat.
Is it just you or me? Did it sound like she might be on for getting an updated boat? Did you pick that up for this?
Oh, she's definitely got one for sure.
It felt like it.
Maybe she's saving it for a future. She wants to come on for a third episode and wants to announce then.
It feels
she wants
like
a trifecta.
It feels like it, doesn't it? It feels.
I mean,
like
if you look at the America's Cup, Medallia were prominent in some of the backdrops. There was some banners in the background, so they're fully into it, and I think that Pip's a perfect candidate for them because of what she does and how she handles herself. I mean, she was probably the most proactive person to send footage and stuff out. I mean, it's not easy. Can you imagine being out there in the Southern Ocean and filming yourself changing the rudder, let alone just changing the rudder?
Yeah, good point.
You know,
really,
and then going, oh, I'll whack a camera on while I'm doing this. Yeah, righto.
Yeah.
No.
Crazy. Hey, well, you gave me a nice segue there, BP.
Did I?
Yep. America's Cup. It's been run and won. There has been plenty going on. Did any of you guys catch anything?
Yeah.
Should we talk about the Cup?
It was pretty easy week in Cup World, but holy shit! If you wanted to see one of the big news, this week is the news. Of course, we've probably had one of the best Cup races in a AC 75 that we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. We've got the winner of the America's Cup. Mm-hmm. Then we had a bit of what you call a sneaky little window with no news at all about all the rumours kicking around about the Challenger of Record. Mm-hmm. And I believe we're about to probably just over-analyse all those elements right about now.
along with a letter of not happy people.
Yeah. Well, so obviously for me, you know, we finally got into some great racing. So race 7, we finally saw it pass. So yeah, we're all happy with that.
Yeah.
Race 8 was just torture. What do you reckon? What did you guys think of race?
Train crash. It's just a train crash, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know. Is it just you need to raise the win limit? Is it a bit of a? I don't know where the fairness lays.
Yeah.
When you just see them sitting there going at 90-degree through wind angle, going out over the boundary, all that sort of thing. Is it fair? Is that something to be looked into? I'm not.
It's
kind of.
There's a lot to it. Depends
who who you're going for, and given we were relatively on the fence, it wasn't that bad. But if you were, it would just truly break your heart if you lose a race because of that particular situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
No question.
I wonder if our answer last week where we said widen the course would have helped in that situation. You know, you could hunt for wind patches in a little bit wider course.
Yeah, but even when they did go outside the boundary, Jay, they went out and they were just getting up there, and then they just went, we've just got to come back, and they came back and ended up in the same spot on the other side.
But that's right. But so they didn't have enough runway to build, you know, and they wouldn't have, if they had more runway and turning, they would have popped up. You know, if they could have just kept going until they popped up, that would have been better. So it was interesting, the Kiwis touchdown, you know, where they rushed into a jibe just as they crossed in behind, to cross behind Luna Rossa there. And, you know, the analytics on TV just, you know, with their little wind shadow thing.
That was the new addition, wasn't it? The wind shadows. I think in essence, we discussed it last week about how important the aero package was, but I think that there's been a little bit of an underestimation in how massive the wind shadow, is, because that was just absolutely brutal when New Zealand jibed behind and just fell off, and that was the end of it.
Yeah. I don't know about you blokes, but race 9, I was just so excited watching that race. Like, race 9 was the best. I reckon that's got to be close. If it's not the best America's Cup race ever, I don't know. Am I out?
I think in the call it in this day and age, without doubt.
In this day and week.
And just to give you actually, Jordan, you were part of my race 9 experience. I was literally doing everything against the law you can imagine. I was driving a car up whatever Hume Highway or something back to Sydney after doing some stuff. And I've got it streaming on my phone, got my headphones in, listening to it, every now and then just taking a little peeksicles, don't tell anyone, find myself going south again. Just get fully chicken winged up, don't know where I am. It's all new. I don't have the map in front of me because I'm trying to listen, trying to see, trying to watch.
And Google Maps doesn't work when KO's on.
Then I just end up even further away from my final destination.
Yeah.
But I got to say, that was...
It was
hot.
unreal.
Jordan, I rang you afterwards, and it was literally like we've seen a football a grand final of some description.
Yep.
And it's been the best game you've ever seen.
Yep.
Which comes to the actual point of these boats have to keep sailing. They have to. There is potential for these guys to sail these boats harder and harder, closer and closer. And those, the example of Spithill doing that luff and then bearing away and getting to the bottom mark was spectacular. And I think I would love to see more of that. And I think the potential, as we move forward, for these guys to learn how to sail these boats properly.
Do you think it's more an element, though, of just waiting for a monumental cock-up in the sense of there's going to be a crash or a bang or a splashdown or a tip-over?
At the moment,
why we're on the edge? Is that why we're on the edge of our seat?
It's a proven fact that people watch high-performance sports, not only for the speed and the and the excitement, for the crashes. They do. Yeah. There's no question. Yeah. I would hate to think what a crash would look like on one of these things.
Well, we saw one.
But
oh, you mean a boat hitting each other?
Yeah.
It'd be splinters everywhere.
But the point is that I think the boats deserved another couple of rounds. I think they deserve to, instead of this, we're going to do this now, or we're going to do that, and we go through a whole period of R&D, because we're still in R&D. Let's admit it. We're still in R&D. They're still learning how to sail them. Yes, they've got enough data now to sort of do what they've done. They're getting around a course at 100%. But it's the actual manoeuvres now, the actual attacking manoeuvres, the overtaking, as we saw. We didn't see any, really. But, I want to see that come into it.
What it actually reminds me of, thinking about it now, is that last race in the Sail GP, Slingers and Nath.
Yep.
Kind of semi... cranking conditions, which basically with that luff where Slingers just snuck around the front.
The one in
And
the
then went
UK
off
you're talking about?
No, in Marseille.
In Marseille.
The final when they won the million.
Yeah.
The $1 million cross, yeah.
And
$1 million cross.
but those boats are now being more and more refined, and the boat they can be sailed a lot better, and they're probably getting closer and closer. Of which exactly what you've been saying, BP, that is potentially going to happen here. Apart from it's still not one design, whereas the Sail GP boats are a whole lot more one design.
Yeah, I mean, America's Cup, to put a one design element into the America's Cup, I think, I don't know that's in the fashion of it. I think that, there must be elements that, the masts were one design. They were made by Southern Spars. There was nothing really too different about it. I don't know exactly to the extent of what the controls were, but I think that the America's Cup should always stay R&D. But I think they need another crack for sure.
What do you reckon the biggest cost line item is?
Foils.
Design team.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Yeah, I thought you were talking bits on the boat.
Oh, no, but when you break it down to the 3,000 different cost line items.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, if you like when they say, "Oh, we're looking at reducing costs," we're looking at doing. How do you do that?
Yeah, well, that's.
I mean, a boat's nothing.
You of all people know how to do that with the with going one design.
Yeah.
Is America's Cup one design? That's the question. It never has been. I don't know that it ever will be.
So let's make a decision here, lads.
Okay.
We can talk about what's happened with the announcement with the Challenger record, but we've also got a little. Do we want to talk about the design of the boat currently of Team New Zealand? We've had a little phone call during the week. Which one do you want to do?
Well, go the latter because I don't think I've been informed on this one yet.
Okay. And I was about to say, Jesus, guys, when are you going to bring me into these conversations?
Stop your sooking. Righto. I guess with Sail GP, many of you will know the name Jody Shields, who was the commentator at the Sail GP on the TV. He did it with a really strong French accent. No, it was very Ocker Aussie accent. He gave me a call during the week, and he had a bit of a view. I'll just play you a little bit of audio, guys, and see what you think.
G'day, mate. Just a quick one. I've been thinking about the America's Cup, and that New Zealand boat is definitely a massive moth. They've lowered the mast stump, the aero package, the foils look like Swift foils. They sailed it like a moth, bow down attitude, slight windward heel. Everything is just a massive Mach 2 oversized. So AMAC has got a lot to be credited for. Anyway, hope you're going well, man. Cheers, big ears.
Well, same goes. Big nose to our mate Jody. Can't disagree with him.
Right. Okay.
No.
So that's it. They just.
I was actually going to mention earlier when we were chatting about the boats touching down. Remember when Rowanville came out with the first foiling moth, and there's a few foilers around, and he got up on his foils before the 5-minute gun, getting towed, and just stayed on his foils the whole race, even doing a 270 instead of attack in super light conditions.
That's right.
Maybe you're right on the money there, Jody.
It's interesting, isn't it? So
by the way, you still owe us for some of the piss you've drunk.
It is quite interesting because obviously those guys, both Pete and Blair, did do the Moth Worlds a few times. I'm trying to remember. I think Pete won the Worlds, or Blair. I can't remember the results, but anyway.
Yep.
There's no question that there'd be elements of it that would be similar. There's no question. I mean, if you're out of the water, you've got no wetted surface area. You want to get that keel, that rig as upright as possible, right?
So, but Jody's point is that they stole a few ideas from the Mach 2, and maybe we might get
AMAC on it.
AMAC on, yeah. I think we might reach
out. Actually launching a claim against against AC75 Inc. right now
for his IP. It'd be interesting. So that's an interesting theory. If you said, let us know if you agree or not. Jody's actually rung me back subsequent to that and said, what do you think? What do you think? And I said, well, just shut up and wait for the show, mate. So that's where we stand currently.
So what do you think? What's your gut feel straight after Jody's call?
Oh, I trust what he says, that man's seen more moths. He's sat on his little boat and watched more moths go past than anybody, I would suggest. And he probably knows as much about them in terms of observing different boats. I don't know which one he's got, but he spends most of his time sort of doing little free-to-air commentary with Facebook and stuff. So, he'd know more about it than me. I don't spend much time in the boat park talking moths, but So either way, it's the benchmark. We discussed last week. We said the Luna Rossa boat has more options at the start, but once the New Zealand boat gets going, she's gone, sort of thing. So you have to think that most boats are going to go down towards that path next. Like if you're Ineos, and you're now the challenger of record, and it says that they're going to stick with the AC 75 class, I'll tell you one thing that I don't reckon Ineos will have on the next boat, boys, is a boom.
Yeah, highly unlikely.
Yeah. They'll have a nice clean surface right to the deck. So did you guys see the protocol? Did you read that?
Had a look at it.
The announcement.
The announcement about the agreement.
I also saw the responses.
Okay, well, let's just quickly touch on it. So it's been agreed that the challenger of record is going to be the Royal Yacht Squadron, which is a UK yacht club, represented by Ineos, Team UK, which will act as the challenger of record for AC 37. It's been agreed that the AC 75 class shall remain the class of yacht for the next two America's Cup cycles. An agreement to this is condition of entry. Teams will be restricted to building only one new AC 75. There's a bit of stuff about administration. They're going to try and come up with a meaningful package of campaign cost reduction measures to get more challenges in. I don't know what that means and what they're going to be able to come up with, which is what you guys just alluded to before. They've got the new crew nationality rule, which I'm not sure is going to work out for a lot of pros, because you have to be a passport holder of the country team yacht club as at 19 March 21, and that passed 2 days ago. So I doubt anyone's negotiated contracts, so it's pretty much who you sailed for. The team you sailed for is the only team you'll be able to represent, I would suggest, at the moment.
Locks Spithill out, locks James out, unless he's an Italian.
No, if you were in Auckland on the boat for a particular team, you then qualify.
Right, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So he's all right.
And then they're going to announce within the next 6 months where the venue for the match will be and dates, and they're going to announce the protocol. Now, we know quite a few little rumours. I'm not sure we're allowed to say anything. Boss, I'll ask you, do you want to say any of the rumours that we've discussed?
Well, so what we've seen and on other publications as well is that there may be a potential deed of gift match. I'm not sure how that works from a legal point of view with the challenger of record and whether they can actually decide to go to a deed of gift. But reading a few of the different blogs and what have you, there's a rumour around that there'll be a race around the Isle of Wight 2022. And regardless of who wins, the match or the America's Cup will be held in New Zealand 2024. That's what I saw. My thinking about it, it could be an absolute stroke of genius from Grant Dalton's behalf.
Oh, we know it's a stroke of genius.
Struck a deal with Ineos, and basically, if they're going to pay for everything, and this is one of the rumours as well, and give a whole heap of cash to Team New Zealand to come and do it, one, they could be walking away, coming back to New Zealand with a shitload of money in the bank accounts. Two, fund the next campaign.
That's it. So that's basically one of the little tidbits that's floating around that we've heard. And so that Team New Zealand won't have any money worries going forward. It's basically on the back of this deal.
But again, rumour, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely, rumour. Yep.
Yep.
We don't know. We don't know.
However, there's a word, however. A letter was published by New York Yacht Club.
Indeed it was.
Did you see that? I'm just going to, can I read this little bit out?
Of course,
it's
buddy.
directly relative to what relative to what we were just talking about then. However, a deed of gift match off the Isle of Wight, as reported by the New Zealand Herald, to be under consideration would be a huge step in the wrong direction. Massive. The two previous deed of gift matches in 1988 and 2010 were distinct low points in the history of America's Cup, regardless of the conditions. The New York Yacht Club will not support the deed of gift match at America's Cup competition that, due to the schedule of rules and competition, is effectively open to only the defender and the challenger of record. So they're saying that they want it to go full team. It's interesting, isn't it, that what the controversy the Cup continues to create.
That's an interesting letter. I like that letter.
So
I like that letter for two reasons. One is it's a valid point. The last two deed of gift, they were not great racing, not good for the sport, not good for pushing.
A long time to recover, and I think we're still recovering. I don't think the America's Cup's really found its feet yet. You know, like the 2007 in Valencia was the last of the traditional cups, if you like, in apostrophes, where we had similar boats, similar designs, we had all this stuff going on, and then all of a sudden it went away from that, and it's kind of been it's been fickle since.
And go on.
I was just saying, and that's why I'm saying that it's really important now from a spectacle point of view that we keep hold of what's going on here, and we don't have these little things. I mean, I don't know about what your guys' thoughts are.
Well, for the sake of the argument, if I'm Ineos, this is the only way to go.
Yeah.
Well, I agree.
You get rid of all the other challenges, and you have a greater chance of winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's all about the America's Cup.
Yeah. So it's just a big business play, and I must say, the members of the New York Yacht Club really don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to quite aggressive plays when it comes to trying to win the Cup. Like they've got quite the history of trying to influence their way, and of course, I mean, we saw with Larry Ellison, they tried to control the Cup beyond just the Cup when he was in charge, when he was the defender. They tried to set up a new protocol that became ongoing, and New Zealand didn't sign up to it, and then we ended up with this event, which in the AC75s, and now New York Yacht Club coming out and trying to say they wrote a protocol and shared it with everyone and said, let's do it this way, and same reaction from as if Ineos or Team New Zealand were going to listen, and Ineos has absolutely played it. They've played it the best way they can, the UK, and they're going to...
Money talks.
Money talks. That's exactly the point I was trying to get to.
Despite us and the spectators and the marine industry and everything else that hangs off the back of it, or does that even exist?
Anymore.
Well, of course, it's disappointing not having a proper Challenger series and what have you, but hey, we're talking big bucks here.
Massive amount of money.
Don't stuff around, so.
Massive amount of money. So, maybe it sort of, there's a little bit of frustration in that letter from New York Yacht Club, but there's some good points in what they said.
Valid point. Yeah, valid points. For
really
sure.
good, valid points. I think, most of the people that are, guys like Doltz, they're invested in this. I don't think they want to ruin the Cup. They want to make it bigger and better. So I think, I don't know about Ineos. I don't know about the UK, but certainly the New Zealanders. So, yeah. All I'll say is I was super glad it happened. I really enjoyed the event. I was spewing we didn't have the Barcarati barge there, because that would have been an absolute highlight for everybody there. It would have been a ton of fun. I suspect it could have happened.
We bought a couple of fish too.
Yeah, we had a major sponsor for it. We had it lined up.
Barcarati, the Sailor's Lager.
No.
We haven't told you about it.
We had a sponsor, BP.
Of course you haven't. I'll just rock up, right?
Yeah. We don't want to trouble you, mate.
Make sure you're wearing this type of clothing, okay?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can imagine it. Is this our boat?
Anyway, but congratulations to everybody involved. It was a fantastic event. And
actually, just to add to that, congratulations to everyone involved, and just seeing a lot of mates who were behind the scenes with Shore Crew and stuff, and to see how much it actually meant to those guys and girls is just phenomenal.
Shore Crew, and of course our good mate Ian Murray. I thought he did a massive effort. There would have been a lot of pressure on that last day. They wanted the racing close.
Yep.
And
was all good.
that breeze was shifting around. That would have been a mighty headache for a race officer. And did you see in that course all the channel markers and stuff? It's like, oh, Jesus.
Crazy.
I've tried chatting to Guillaume Verdier, but he is still drinking the champagne.
Of course he is. Yes.
That's cool. All right. Well, let's move on for the America's Cup. A bit of sad news. The one of the most famous sailing regattas in the world is an event called Kiel Avoca or Kiel Week. Normally runs at the end of June. It has been postponed to...
AP flag has been raised. Hope they've got a good quality one. It's got to hang out for a while.
Yep. 4th to 12th of September is what they're thinking. So they're obviously thinking the vaccine's going to make the difference. I don't know. Have you ever done Kiel Week, you blokes?
Negative.
No.
It gets cold and miserable in June. So September, it can be either really hot and no wind, or it can be really cold and windy. And so September could be breaking the ice off the boat, sort of thing.
Oh, sounds divine.
Sounds divine. Can't wait.
Sounds like my conditions.
You didn't even go out because of a bit of a rain, you little princess.
Oh no, it was really cold rain.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Big cold rain.
Yeah, big cold rain. Yeah.
Don't start.
All right, gentlemen. Banter is one of our favourite things. Yes.
So good.
It is.
It's right up there. It's right up there.
It is banter. And Bossy, you threw out this challenge of the best off the beach dinghy boat.
Yep.
And I've got to say, it is very funny what's coming back. I'm just entertained watching what's going on.
Yeah. Certainly the catwhackers have embraced it. And we say catwhacker with love if you're out there thinking we're being offensive. Not at all. I'm a catwhacker now, apparently. So we get emails, boys. We get emails, don't we?
Yes.
And photos.
We certainly do.
And photos. And go on.
This is all stemmed from the email from Bo White. Bo? Yeah. What? Yeah, correct. Last week or 10 days or so ago, where he explained his case to the jury.
In relative detail.
I didn't mention it at the time, but I'm just saying when it does come time to make our kind of equations and algorithms and all those sorts of things, 100% open to bribery. Anyway, we get today a message from one Adam Hughes. He's obviously a catwhacker as well. He's got the catwhacker, catamaran as part of his Facebook profile. And by the way, banter. What have you guys done?
Yeah, what have you guys started?
There's a picture, 2 blokes shaking hands in a bar.
In an aggressive manner, I might add.
Taipan Challenge. Bo White and Mark Collicliffe have finally clashed at the pub after the famous bar karate email. The challenge is 4.9 Taipan v F16 Viper. Any configuration, 1 up. Best of 3 races. $100 bet, so the winner goes home very happy. Venue and date, TBA. See second photo for the witness to the bet. So there's plenty there, but
this is bigger than the cup. This is bigger than the cup.
Basically, we're going to forget anything else and just cover this.
Yep.
I've got a few additions. I love what they're doing, but I want, as per Bo's email, all those different points that he mentioned. That's how you have to sail the boat as well.
Yes.
Including taking your girlfriend and maybe having a little crack on the way through.
Right.
Actually seeing if she can enjoy the sailing.
I've got an update.
I'm going to say it, boys. We're going to send up 2 cartons of beer to the winner.
Oh,
up or down.
So we're spending more money than they are.
Ah, fuck. I've done it again.
I've got an update. I've got an update.
We will supply booze once all the time, date, all that sort of stuff has been organised.
I know.
We'll get some booze there.
I'll tell you the date and time and place. I can tell you that.
Oh, here we go.
Here's an update. So it's happening Good Friday.
Good Friday. Oh, good day.
2nd of April, I think. Start time noon, and at Toukley, which is on the Central Coast in New South Wales. So just below.
Well, that's me. So I've got to.
Guess you're going for a drive.
Just below
Macquarie. I'll get up there and cover it live. What do you reckon?
Yeah, go for it.
Hey,
Get
I'll
Jody.
Get an Airbnb.
Get Jody. He'll come down.
Oh, bloody oath.
Go and get Jody to make sure he pays for his piss. That I just saw. We'll do live coverage. Sounds good.
All right.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
And
it's Bo and Michael. Michael.
No, Michael, brother of Mark, has posted this, and then Adam forwarded it on. But Bo and Mark, good luck, man. Bring it.
So the other thing I reckon is going to happen is the paper tigers are going to turn up.
Ooh. Oh, just rock up on the beach and go, you can't have all the fun.
Yeah.
Americat.
Yeah. Americat, yeah.
It's going to be a cat off.
No, mate. We've seriously got to get as much footage from this as we can, because this is the essence of Barkarati right here. This is fantastic.
April 2nd. Easter, yeah,
right.
Good Friday.
Okay. Good Friday.
I don't think I'm doing anything.
Well, I am. I'm doing the commentary for the Brisbane to Gladstone yacht race. So for those,
so if you want to snore, just tune in on that. If you want to have a bit of a laugh, tune in to me.
As if it's going to be a snore. You wait.
Could you imagine commentating the Brisbane to Gladstone race? It's 3 days.
Look, I'm just doing the start commentary. It'll be unreal.
It will be.
Could you? I just
good race.
I thought it'd be heaps funny if you did it for 3 days. It would be hilarious.
I can talk for 3 days.
We know that.
Bicey sent me a photo during the week of the Submarine World Championships and asked if I could commentate them, and I said I've already done it. It's something equivalent. I commentated the 10-kilometre offshore swimming event, like a distance swimming event.
Riveting.
Exactly. You're just commentating flat water. You can't see it.
And rubber hats.
So anyway, there's mad skills. There has been a few queries about the pursuit race because we mentioned it. I'll just explain it again. I'll try and put a post up with it.
Maybe these boys should actually chuck a pursuit race in there.
Why don't we do it?
One of them could be a pursuit race. So
yeah.
So the pursuit race, if you imagine if you look at your computer screen or whatever you're looking at and imagine the wind's coming from vertical straight down, right? You have your committee boat sitting in the middle and then you have a mark in the line of the wind. So one upwind and downwind and the committee boat dead in the centre, okay? And then you have 2 marks at 90 degrees from that. So basically what you'll have is one boat starting in one direction and one boat going in the opposite direction. So basically,
one going upwind, one going on a broad reach.
One going on a reach one way, one going on a reach the other way. No, so you're just starting. Basically, you reach out to a mark, jibe around on one side, reach out to a mark, tack around on the other side, and it's a pursuit race. If you've ever watched track cycling, they do a pursuit race, and you do it for 3 laps, or you do it for 5 minutes, or you do it for whatever. Or the other rule is if one of the boat catches the other boat, it's an automatic. That's it. You're done. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you say it's a 5 minute or a 10 minute or 3 laps or whatever. But basically, reach across around the mark, reach across, and you come at the start line from opposite directions, and it's just pure speed racing. Super simple for people to understand. Super easy. You could put it right next to the beach. You could have beers and a barbecue, and basically, if you lose, you're out. Well, unless you do a double elimination, and you could actually put it in as one of your days of a regatta, and it could actually count, and it could be a fun way of doing it. So that's the pursuit race idea that
the bar karate pursuit race. The great Jordan Spencer.
The great Jordan Spencer.
The great Jordan Spencer.
That's it. So a lot of fun. The whole idea is having fun. So people have asked a few times. I will put a post up with diagrams on it or something when I get around. But it's basically just to have fun and make it things different. You know what I thought when it would be really good in a regatta? When it's super windy and they're going to cancel racing anyway, could work really well for that because reaching backward and forward on a windy day is no problem, or super light. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that perfect thing to do. It's a filler for that. So, yeah. BP, Sydney to Coffs.
Well, we're 1 week
Pittwater
away.
to Coffs. Pittwater to Coffs.
Pittwater to Coffs. That's exactly right. We're 1 week away from the start of that. And, well, there's a few people starting to get fully into it. We've got Matty Allen going up. We've got Ananite, which is Marcus Blackmore's 100-footer. We've got InfoTrack has entered in. So I was going to put our book together. Obviously, InfoTrack is now going to be an unbettable for over the line, but we could whack something on there for IRC for sure. Okay,
so let's. The racing the race start is 1 o'clock coming Friday. So it's the 26th. And
by the way, before we get too much into the race, if you're in the region on Thursday night, come down to the Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club and drink some Sailors Lagers because we are sponsoring the event. So get on down there.
I don't understand how we sponsor things when we don't make any money.
Well, you don't have to worry about that.
By the way, you've given them the wrong logo.
Well, that's because we couldn't get on.
That's because we're trying to get hold of you.
You got the logo on your computer, mate.
It's in the Dropbox.
We couldn't find it.
I'll get Charlotte to show you how it works.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's okay. Just tell her to send it up to Kendra. She'll upload it.
At the moment, it looks like it'll start in a southerly and then it'll swing around pretty early on into northerly, and then it'll be wind everywhere. It's not going to be a super simple race, so it'll be good watching.
Well, traditionally, it's a very hard race. I've done a few of them. It used to be held on the 1st of January, so there was some boats that made it back from the Hobart to go and do the race, believe it or not. But some of the bigger boats would turn around and make it back. But now they've moved it. It looks like it's going to be continually held in this time of the year.
Yeah, it's a better idea.
Which is interesting because back in the day, I mean, there was a lot of times where we were just shore hopping, real light nor'easter, and sometimes even potentially thinking about kedging with the anchor because just it was so light. But had a couple of windy ones, but had a couple of very light ones. But this event is looking very popular, and I think that over this, especially after this year with last year and COVID and all, I think everyone's excited to get back into it, and I think this is going to grow. And also with Sydney Auckland race out of the RPA, there's a big offshore push.
Yeah, that's right. So that could be one reason why they've moved this permanently, because the Auckland race should probably slot into that January space now.
January 31, I think, was what the plan was.
I was asked to do it next year today. So
really, well done.
People are starting to ask me to go sailing with them again. I don't know why.
Don't get. No, sorry. I'll leave that one.
Oh, come on. Oh, dear.
I'm stoked for you. I'm super stoked for you. I think it's great.
Yeah. Interesting news, boys. Good news. I was talking to the manager at Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron and trying to say, I was at the bar basically going, "Can I have a sailor's lager? Can I have a sailor's lager?" And that's
imagine sitting at
enough already.
God, I've heard you 10 times. We don't have it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And so the manager came over and starts chatting to me, and I said, "Look, why don't you stock it?" And we give a quarter of any profits, which we don't make yet, back into sailing. And and she was going, "Oh, that sounds really interesting." But the problem is we're 100% locked out. They all have these contracts. And she said, if it's on tap, And I said, "What about cans?" She said, "Oh yeah, we could do cans, but it can't be only if it's a lager." And I said, "Well, have I got a beer for you?" So we might be up. So if you are a patron of RQ, look out for it. I'm going to be back down there this week trying to wangle our way in. So hopefully, boys, some good news on that front.
Looking forward to it.
Well done. Good work. Good work.
So that's it. Yeah.
Can I have a sailor's lager? Can I have a sailor's lager?
Here he comes again.
It works, Pete.
Oh, it's that guy.
It works. It works. It absolutely works. Well, I think that's us, boys. Anything else?
All right, man. Nah,
No, all good.
done well. Have a good week, gents.
Yeah.
Chat soon.
Okay.
See ya.
See you, lads.